Okay, this video is about a technique for unwrapping that I learned since I started working in the game industry. Basically, it's about using geometry to explain your detail in an environment or with an object, and less reliance on a normal maps and high-resolution textures and things like that. So basically, the goal of this and my intended purpose for this particular environment was to make an environment that, like I said, used a lot of geometry to explain things and uses as few textures as possible with as low a texture budget as possible. So in the whole scene, I think I've only used 3 or 4 textures, or materials, what have you. I've got this one. Let's see, I don't know if I can get a quicker view of that, I guess not. So it's like a metal texture. This one, oh, there we go. It's like just a cool little sci-fi material. It's tiles horizontally. This is like a graded floor texture I made. And this is just like a decal sheet, and I can probably show you what those are. There, so, nothing special. I have all the rest of this room here to fill up with other things that I'd like to stick on the ground, or little, like, warning stickers, or whatever the fuck I want to do. The rest is just some standard max materials, blah, blah, blah. I'm totally unorganized, so forgive me about that. But as you can see here, a lot of the same colors are kind of recurring all over the place. You got this light gray, dark gray, some little kind of hatch things up here, and a lot of this kind of bronzy color. You see it on the pipes and on the window dressings, and all the objects in the ceiling, things like that. And essentially, that's all that exact same sci-fi texture that I made. This one here. And I can show you that image. Oh, fuck. That wasn't the one. Here, this. So basically, this is the texture. It's incredibly simple. There's really nothing to it. It's just kind of, it all runs side to side, tiles that way. Actually, it doesn't even really tile that well, but don't tell anybody. Got a little greebly, science fiction-y looking shit in here for like guts of machines or anything that looks like it needs to be blinking or working. This I'm going to use for like panels, walls, large sections that need to have metal surfaces but have some visual interest. This I've been primarily using for like little detail areas, little hunks of like additional support structure, and this is just for any kind of subdued areas that have no real purpose but need to have some kind of visual interest to them. So it's got a handle and some latches, and it's not the most outstanding texture in the world. It's really not that special at all. But what I think really is bringing this environment to life is not so much the good texturing, but all the forms and the shapes. I'm doing a lot of talking in this scene with my geometry. And here, maybe I can zoom out and show you. There. So this is a fairly large scene. It's larger than a lot of the ones I've done. I don't really do a lot of large-scale environment stuff, so this is big for me, and I haven't done one in a while. But yeah. So like you might say, hey, well that's kind of a lot of geo, but next-gen stuff's using a lot of geo. So trying to do more geo and less normal maps and textures. And as you see, the environment's not complete, so bear with me. In my browser here, this is an image of what it looks like rendered. So you can see like a lot of the work is being done actually with the lighting. It's really not outstanding modeling. The textures really aren't super amazing. There's nothing really unique going on here. But the mood and the quality in this particular scene is being brought out through the lighting. My boss at work gave me some really cool hints on lighting lately. It really helped me out a ton with that. So anyway, let's get into it. Real quick, just to show you kind of how I'm unwrapping these things. We'll go to this doorway section first, and you can see almost immediately how obvious it is, how I've utilized that texture. And I'll throw an unwrap modifier on here and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So here I've selected the 2 main doorway panels. You can see selected in red, and you can see where they're laid out there on the UV sheet. Real simple, There was nothing specific on this area of the texture that said door. The only thing about this model here that says door is the shape of it, you know. I mean, it looks like a fucking door. And then you've got these generic textures laid onto it. And it's got these little kind of interesting lock type mechanisms on it. It's just a couple of cheaply made, quickly made cylinders. I mean, there's nothing to this. You know, just really easy to make these little guys. I mean, this geo is incredibly simple. And then I unwrapped it so it lays over it in an interesting way, and you know, you can see where it just kind of seems to fit right now. I may revise this later, but for a quick and dirty job, that's how I got this effect. The central beam of this here, of this doorway, this section right here, you know, it's just kind of laid out on this line, makes it look like there's a seam running down the middle. And one important thing when you're doing your textures like this is try to make them really versatile, you know. Make lots of horizontal cuts, you know, because, you know, you can always turn them vertically on objects that are unwrapped vertically. And, of course, the rest of this stuff is really, this is super janky, but this is just the fucking outsides of the door just slapped on anywhere until it looked cool. I mean, it's not really that complex. Alright. So let's get back in here. Start looking at some objects. Okay, and now I will go ahead in on this area. Okay, so there's actually two materials on this guy. There was this one that you're seeing right in the middle, and then there was this really boring, completely flat texture. Really nothing spectacular about this. I think I just ripped this right off of CG Textures and played in Photoshop until it tiled. So, yeah, that's all that is. Spec map gives it a little bit more visual interest, but, you know, this, let's not get into that. So, you can see I've got certain areas of this mapped with two different materials. So these sections I'm highlighting are mapped with that kind of aluminum, scratched aluminum floor look. And you can see what those are selected now. And I reserved that more interesting texture I made for this these more interesting shapes in this section. As you can see, I'm highlighting in red. Now, let's go in and look at the unwrap real quick. And you can see it's not a really... It's just kind of a bunch of little shapes running around, right? But if I turn on the diffuse channel here to look in the unwrap editor, you can see really quickly and clearly how the things are laid out. You see, they're not even connected, but in the scene, or in the object, that's what you're looking at. It's those objects, they're all just laid out, and what you might say, well, why are they kind of laid out all haphazardly like that? Well, because they're differently shaped and they go at different angles, but I wanted this black line and to have this lighter colored trim on the inside and this darker trim on the outside, and you can see that reflects in the texture right there. So this black line continues all the way through it. So it looks intentional, but it really wasn't. And same with this top area here, like these two polys. They're just sitting right here and doing nothing special. These could have gone anywhere in the scene, you know, but I thought that right here I liked this kind of cool little detail it gave right there. I mean, I could have put it there, there, or there, or there, or anywhere, right? So, I mean, this is all just kind of guesswork. None of this was pre-planned. I just jumped right into it and made a versatile texture. Not really a great texture, just versatile. Horizontal tiling, and I kind of went nuts with it. So you can see there's two places that I've used that same material. And then we'll just go into the walls or something next. And actually, I'm going to end this video right now, and then I'll start up another one.